But they said the British had to change that policy because Germany became a power, 1870, Bismarck, as you know, combined all the 300 principalities. The Germans then, wherever they went, Africa, Far East, and always met, Dutch, British sailors, so no room. So they started toward Balkans, they called the 5B formula: Berlin, Belgrade, Bosphor, Baghdad, Bombay, policy. That's the German, policy. And still the same, huh? Okay. So in the end, we applied to British, French, but they were not interested because their worry was Germany and they needed Russia. But Russia had aspirations on Turkey. Turkey wanted protection, against Russia from British. So British couldn't, protect Turkey against Russia because they were allied. That was the dilemma British had. So in the end, Turks had to go to the German side because when war finished, Turks would suffer. All the things done were just promises to Turks, nothing else, nothing, on paper, nothing, concrete. So Turks majority thought when war finished, Turks would suffer and empire might be carved up. That was the, opinion most of the Turks. And then allied to Germany on the 2nd of August, a treaty was signed, and very quickly Germans, sent experts, and from Skoda, company, from Austria-Hungary then, 200 guns, were brought to here. And then from carbonate company, mines, carbonate mines, almost, 200-300, mines were brought here to Romania. So started, building up here. And Yusadam and Merten, two German, experts were here employed, by Turkish government. And they started training and etc., And Sanders was appointed. So build up, continued. And what was the Turkish defense line, as far as I know from our history? Imagine, channel 65 kilometers, and in the mouth there were 2 forts on this side, 2 on the other side. But we knew we couldn't stop them in the mouth because British Navy had long-range guns, like Kuenazebe, 29 kilometers. Turkish guns at the most could shoot, say, 15 kilometers or 16 kilometers. So we had no chance, to stop them in the mouth. So Turkish plan was to take them in and then deal, by the fire from the flanks. That was the Turkish tactic. And after 20 guns in the mouth, then you come up this way a bit. That's the largest, place of the Dardanelles. And on both sides of howitzers, new, Krupp howitzers were brought from Germany, and 15 centimeters. They were very effective, hitting the ships from the top rather than flanks, where armory is very, strong. And mortar or howitzer. So 20 of them on Asian side, 20 on European side, like this. That was the second defense line. And then you come up this way a bit, and over there near the point, third defense line started. It was in a minefields, let's say. And almost as far as here, 400 mines, were put across, like 11 bands of mines. And to protect these minefields, there were batteries on both sides, roughly 25 guns on this side, 25 on the other side, so roughly 50 guns in protecting minefields. And then when you come here into the Dardanelles, in the Narrows, there were 3 forts on this side, 3 on the other side. So 6 forts, on the Dardanelles, on the Narrows. And roughly 24 guns, 3 forts had over there, and 24, like 48 guns. But these were the best, best guns were put right here in the Narrows. And also strengthened this defense by torpedo. There were torpedo bases here and on the other side to fire torpedoes, on ships if they got this far. And the other defense against submarine cables, over there before the point, underwater cables, and also 2 Turkish warships behind the point, waiting, Turgut Reis and Barbaros, which were German-built warships, which we got them in the past. They were old, like 20 years, 30 years old ships, but still, they could be used as a, fort. And final defense was Goeben and Verslag, 2 German warships we got from Germany. If needed, they would come and help us here. So like 7 defense lines. And first protected by second, second by third, third by fourth, like this. If you come to deal with the first, then second stops you. If you deal with first and second, so very like scales of the fish, defense system. And which worked. It was like a vicious circle. And big ships couldn't get through because of mines. Mines should have been swept, but how? When fishermen came, North Sea trawlers mostly used. When they came in to sweep, then immediately, you know, Turkish howitzers opened fire and forced them back. Almost 2 weeks they tried to sweep, but they couldn't. Only, you know, handful of, you know, mines were destroyed, 2, 3 or 4 at the most by British. So mines remained. So it was like a vicious circle. Carden was the man who made the plan, but seeing, you know, day by day difficulty, he had nervous breakdown, sick, you know, eventually, you know, taken from here to Malta, and then Roebuck, you know, had to do it. And even they say at that time, best admiral in Britain was 30. He was offered this job, but didn't accept this job, you know, and didn't want to risk, you know, his, you know, fame in Britain. So he was clever, didn't get. Olympus was offered, but didn't get because he was in Turkey before the war, as you know, head of the British mission to train Turkish Navy. But I know British say we didn't use him here in the Gallipoli area, but they use his expertise. You know, I went to Australia in 2000, studied archives, you know, there, and I read the papers, you know, investigation, Dardanelles Commission papers, and where they clearly say that landing plans were shown to Admiral Olympus, and he said, okay, this is a good plan. So they used, you know, his expertise actually. So they followed in his advice. Seems to be not here, but actually, you know, they used his, you know, knowledge on the Dardanelles. And Churchill, when he was questioned by Dardanelles in 1916, said that I'm not expert on naval things. I asked, you know, Admiral on the spot, you know, Carden, who said that it is possible through extended operations. So I did it, you know. This way he defended, you know, himself. And so it was decided, and Turkish defenses were underestimated. So they thought strong navy could get through. And Julian Corbett, you know, says in British naval official history, like, you know, depending on admiral to experts, 15-1. If ships, you know, kept going through the minefields against these defenses, maybe 2 ships, 3 ships could reach the Sea of Marmara. Like, you know, 13, 12 might be lost here in the Dardanelles. So this is the risk, you know, you should consider. And the other interesting thing, as a retrospect, if they got through, what would have happened in the Sea of Marmara? Because they had no ship to you know, deal with, you know, Goban. Goban could make 29 miles an hour. They say none of the British ships here and French ships could make more than 25 miles. So at least 4 or 5 miles faster than, you know, all British and French ships. And as an example, Nekrasov in Russian is the best book, you know, on naval, you know, activities. He says in his book, Van der Tann, a German warship, met, you know, a British ship in North Sea. Van der Tann actually was smaller than, you know, Goban in terms of, you know, comparison. And indefatigable, you know, British warship in North Sea, and battle lasted only 14 minutes, you know. So German warship finished, you know, British ship in 14 minutes. So judging from that, Nekrasov claims in his book, Goban most probably could deal with, you know, 3 British ships at the same time, you know, fight like an inflexible size ships. And they thought inflexible was the only ship here which could deal with Goban, you know, if they got through Dardanelles. But seems to be question mark, because Goban, you know, inflexible could make only 25 miles, but actually lost in the naval attack because it struck a mine and a big hole was opened about 5 meters, and then, you know, had to go to Tenedos Island beach, you know, on that island. So this was a Turkish defense system, not perfect, but it's good, you know, defense system. Very well, you know, evaluated, and it worked. Turkish headquarters, right up there on the hills, and watching the battle, you know, going on. So after 2 bombardments, British dealt, you know, with Turkish force in the mouth. Then came in, but then stopped, you know, before the minefields. So how you deal? And then Carden made this plan, put all the ships in 3 lines, like bombarding and then attacking, you know, squadrons. So plan was like 6 ships, you know, lining would bombard Turkish suppress artillery, and then under the cover, you know, attacking, you know, squadrons would, you know, advance up this way. So that was the plan in short.